Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Lois, a graduate assistant with the Center for Indigenous Educational Research at OISE. And I am very, very pleased to welcome everyone to today's special event, Aunties and Advocates, or Aunties and Uncle and Advocates, Land and Life in Kaska Homelands. We were very delighted to meet the Aunties and Advocates in an event last year, Tucho and Teachings, and we're so pleased to have you back again today. So thank you again for being here. Just for some logistics for everyone, please keep yourselves on mute unless you would like to say something in the chat, then feel free to pop it in there. And then maybe we could open it up depending on Amanda, what you prefer and what everyone would prefer. And yeah, I think that I mentioned that this will be recorded. So now to begin, and particularly in consideration of the centrality of land to today's conversation, I wish to acknowledge that the land on which the University of Toronto operates is the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. I also wish to identify myself as a settler of European ancestry who has benefited from the destructive colonial project on this land. I've grown up, as many of us have, without really reflecting deeply on the importance of land. However, as we will hear today from the land defenders in the Kaska Homelands, relationship to land is at the heart of decolonization. So I want to express my deep gratitude today for the Aunties and Advocates for joining us once again to share your experiences and your stories today. And I invite everyone who's in attendance to listen and reflect upon the significance of land wherever we find ourselves today and wherever that may be. So in acknowledging the land in this way, let us recognize today our responsibilities to uphold reciprocal and respectful relationships with both the land itself and the peoples who have taken care of it since time immemorial and continue to do so. With this, I am very, very pleased to present the moderator for today's talk, Amanda Buffalo. Amanda is an Ed.D. student in the Social Justice Education Department and a Yukon community advocate. So Amanda, thank you so much for being here and for moderating our talk today. I will now pass it over to you.
Thanks, Lois. Should you hear that, aunties and uncle? I'm supposed to moderate like I have control. Thank you so much for having us today. It's so nice to be in this space and just sharing these connections, which are dear to my heart from across the country. So welcome to everyone, and thanks to the aunties and uncles and advocates and all of the guests that have come to be here with us today. I'm delighted, actually, so and so grateful. Auntie Anne usually moderates. I'm kind of the underling gopher, so we did prepare a little bit for today, but we're going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the work that we're doing, and yeah, and invite you to join us in some of our advocacy this afternoon. So if you could share our slide presentation, Lois, that would be great. And maybe I'll just let the advocates and the aunties and uncles team introduce themselves as well, so that you know who we are and what we're up to. Maybe we start with Auntie Anne.
Sure. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to have these conversations again, and it's good to have them continue. Since we've met, a lot of things have happened, and as you all are, we are also dealing with COVID and trying to make things work within that realm of pandemic and isolation, and you just never know what the measures will be, because things just change. So anyway, I'm happy to be here today. It is not.
Thank you, Auntie. Uncle, are you on?
My name is Dene from Dene, Gotsaza Usia, Dene, Rabbit's nephew. elder, knowledge keeper, musician, artist. And I'm happy to be here and to be part of what's happening today and the future. De kola.
Thank you, Uncle. Auntie Mary and Auntie Dorothy, you want to jump in?
Okay, Dorothy Smith. I'm the Wolf Clan elder and Kaska, and I'm a teacher and knowledge keeper. Hola, nice to be here. My name is Mary Maja. I'm the Crow Clan. I'm Kaska Dene, and it's good to be here. Hola.
Can you peek at the camera so people can see you? There you go.
We're always moving this thing around all the time.
Thank you, Auntie Mary and Auntie Dorothy. We've got Carla. Are you?
Just back and forth.
Oh, okay, Jody.
Hi, my name is Jody Dick. I'm a Kaska Dene advocate. I also cook. Been a part of the team for about 4 or 3 years, I believe now. I believe this is my second session with the tea time with the Aunties. I'm a Wolf, our Crow Clan, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here right now. I'm kind of nervous a little, see new faces. For now, I'll just introduce myself and just listen in. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jody. And apologies, apparently Carla, she was speaking and I couldn't hear her or see her, so I cut her off, and my most sincere apologies. Carla, would you like to introduce yourself again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah. Now I can, yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and I'm happy to be here for the tea. My name's Carla Boss. I'm from Lower Post. It's northern BC. I'm a Kaska Dene woman from the Crow Clan, and I'm really nervous right now, but it's good to see everybody. And yeah, I think this is, I've been with the advocacy program now for, I think it was about 3 years, I'm thinking. Definitely this program has changed my life around for the better. We have a lot of great role models in our advocacy group. So our aunties, all of our aunties and grandmas and everybody in the group gives it all. And yeah, we've done a lot of stuff in the past 3 years. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and thank you. Kula.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you for your patience with me. I'm also trying to do all the tech stuff for all the people that can't get on right now too. So thank you as well for being patient. So maybe we could ask Caitlin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Caitlin Porter. I am the Wolf Clan in Kaska Dene, and I've been an advocate for 3 years, going on 4 years, and just really happy to be here. So thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin. Isaiah, are you on the line?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name's Isaiah Gilson. My traditional name is Duthla. Parents are Robin Gilson and Bernard Johnson. My dad's from Burwash. My mom's from Lower Plains, New York State. White Plains, New York State, sorry. I'm a multifaceted storyteller, mainly with a focus on filmmaking. But I take note from Dennis. I also sing and dance and some other things that I'm also making my way into. And I've been an advocate my whole life. No, but I've been with the advocacy group in it'll be a year in March, April or March. It's been very, I guess, kind of life-changing and eye-opening. Dig my roots in with my community and be part of the community, helping where I can. Glad to be here. Thanks for everyone for coming to hear our stories.
Thanks, Isaiah. Julie, are you ready?
Yeah. Denta Ezi Julie Guya Danaka Ezi Titia Guya Esmoma Ezi Mazi Laurie Allen Guya Tatsuluga Neste, and I am Meska Dana Lasta. My name is Julie. My Dana name is Loon. I am from Watson Lake and I come from the Crow clan. My mom is Laurie Allen, and yeah, this is my first time joining the T, so I'm pretty interested. And I guess Nevaeh wants to say hi too. But yeah, I've been an advocate for the past few months now, but I've been in and out of the Youth for Safety and Dignity, I guess throughout my entire high school. But yeah, so here I am now.
Julie. Maybe we go to your mom, Laurie.
Hi, my name is Laurie Allen. I'm from the Crow clan. I'm from Watson Lake. I'm an advocate and I'm a project manager with them. And thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks, Laurie. Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I'm working with Laurie as the co-manager for the project. I've just started, so I'm learning lots and just really glad to be here and to meet everybody.
Thank you, Rachel. I think Marianne is still trying to get on. So I guess I'll introduce myself, and unless we've missed anyone, but I don't.
Lois? Is Lois here?
Yeah, Lois Moorcroft. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I have no choice. I need a vehicle.
Sorry. There you are, Lois.
I'm Lois Moorcroft, settler living on Carcross Tagish First Nation territory, and it is really a pleasure to work with Liard Aboriginal Women's Society. I appreciate learning from and learning with them, and I'm really excited to hear what they have to say today about the ongoing advocacy work we all do. Thank you.
Thanks,
Kola.
So that is most of our team, or the ones that are able to be here in this space with us right now. My name is Amanda Buffalo. I am, I guess, first and foremost, I'm a niece and a community member. I'm an auntie in my community as well. I'm also an EDD student in the SJE department, and I've been working with the advocates in a couple of different capacities, initially just attending the training with them, and now I act as the secretariat for for the advocacy program. And there's a whole lot of exciting projects that are outside of just the advocacy program that the advocates work on. And so that's what we are planning to share with you today. So Lois Booty, if you could give us the next slide, except for I just want to say this beautiful picture was taken at Tucho, which is where we do a lot of our land-based learning activities. So this was a couple of summers ago, but you don't often get to see a rainbow end to end. So that is a gift for you today. Oh, and Marianne just got in, so we'll just wait for her to load. Sorry, Auntie Anne just got kicked out. So we're troubleshooting, but Marianne just joined us. So Marianne, we were just doing introductions. Do you want to introduce yourself and your role within the advocates team?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marianne Dick. I am a Crow clan of Watson Lake. My parents are David Dick, Lissy Dick. I had a huge loss in my life. It was my older sister Maggie, and that was my only family left. And I'm happy for the advocacies, and I also sit on the board with Liard Aboriginal Women's Society. And I'm so proud of each and every one of you. Keep up the good work and keep going strong and fight for what's right. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. I'm glad you were able to get on. I know the tech has been a challenge today.
You know, all kinds of Zooms.
It's because of COVID, Mom.
Well, you can't get COVID through Zoom meeting, or you gotta go another Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, how crazy.
Yeah, the tech in the north has definitely been challenging today. So thank you all for your patience and for being here despite it, and for really hustling to get here. We've been talking for the last couple of days. We have actually, this is the very last hour of our 3-day session. We've been sitting with each other for 3 days now. And so we're kind of at the tail end of energy, but we wanted to begin the session by really giving thanks and acknowledging the elders that work with us as young Indigenous people in the community, mostly Kaska people in the community. The elders are absolutely instrumental. And so the practice of giving thanks, is really, it's very important. And so we just raise our hands to the elders and thanks for your time and your care and attention and all you do to teach us and to guide us forward. If any of the advocates want to add to that, I'm happy to. And I think it's also important to say, you know, like Marianne said, how proud the community is of the work that the advocates are doing. And so being able to share that today is deeply meaningful as well, because it is such important work that's so dear to our hearts. And it's so inspiring to see. I'm fortunate to be a very small part of that. So if Lois, if you can slide to the next slide, we've got kind of a not really an agenda, but there's a few things that we wanted to talk about or share about our programs today. And so I think Isaiah and Auntie Mary were planning to speak to the Mothers of the Land project for a little bit. Jody was going to talk a bit about her experience with Court Watch. Carla was going to talk a bit about her involvement with Youth for Dignity. Julie and Caitlin and Marianne, I believe we're going to talk a bit about the language and culture, and Anne has a special announcement about the center, and then we have an invitation for you. So that's kind of what we're thinking of today. No real order, but there's a lot going on in Kaska country, so it's really exciting to be able to share this with you today. So Auntie Mary, do you want to start us off about Mothers of the Land?
Maybe Rachel could lead.
Okay.
I'll just say that this is our second event. It started off with the first Mothers of the Land conference, which was held a number of years ago. And we're now doing our second event, and I'm going to hand it right over to Isaiah because I think he can tell us what we're up to.
So I came onto the team this past year. So I didn't go to the first conference, but well, I guess the themes for this year of this conference are climate change and caribou, and how the two coincide. So me as the filmmaker, creative storyteller, I'll be going out and collecting some interviews and B-roll to create a hopefully like a documentary style type media for the conference, and the conference will be mainly digital for the most part, for obvious reasons. Yeah, it's really important for us to collect our stories. So because not only is this like interviews with community members and elders, but also it's a form of documentation. My grandma Dorothy on the line here has a lot of very amazing stories of what it was like back before four times, when our people were a lot more rooted in who we were, specifically the Kaska. So me as, I guess, a younger generation coming up, it's important that we document this and put it in the film, because we're all streaming. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's kind of it's really exciting, but also it's kind of very not bleak, but just looking at the damage and the change that has happened. Even me as a younger person and younger generation, I'm starting to see a lot of change on the land. It worries me. So, but it's important to tell our stories, to educate and show what's going on, also to share who we are and all that. So yeah, short and sweet of that. If I missed anything, anyone want to add?
Maybe I'll just mention that David Suzuki was the guest speaker at the last conference, and it was an opportunity, I think, for to really begin a conversation on what's happening with the encroachment of larger industry. It's still relatively new. There's a number of large operating mines in the Yukon, but large industrial developments are still, fairly rare. The highway obviously was another major impact on the region. And so we're trying to continue the conversations that began at the first conference. There were presentations from the elders speaking in their language. There were presentations from the youth speaking in their language. And that conversation has just begun, and we're really hoping to continue that conversation about what's happening in the area and what climate change and other activities are going to do to the land, and how to keep it safe for the love of caribou and other animals.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Auntie Mary, Auntie Dorothy, do you have anything you want to add about Mothers of the Land?
Dorothy said no.
Just shied at you?
Had it on me, that Mary.
It just whispered to me, no.
Go ahead, you first.
No, we're just gonna do that.
mothers of the land. Yeah.
Yeah. There's many species of animals that live on our homeland. One of the many is that we're wanting to protect all the animals, but we're going to be talking about caribou. I'm an elder. I'm 72 years old now, and I guess still learning about the many species. And there was many stories from the land about the caribou that we talk about, or we're going to talk about. And I'm going to try and interview my older brother about the Big Dipper, which is the 7 caribou, and a hunter coming behind the 7 caribou. And we don't only say caribou. There's many ways we say caribou in our language. I think there was about 7 ways we talk about the caribou. Their habitat. We know that like a cow caribou without the calf is usually the leader of the herds. And the only time they all gather is when they have the fall rut. But other times they go their separate way, the cows with their calves and the bull with their big bulls by themselves. The younger bulls, they look out for the bigger bull caribou. There's many things we say about the caribou, and they have 2 modes of travel. One is grazing mode, and the other one is migration mode. So that's probably some of the things that we're going to be covering under for the love of caribou and how we live with caribou. There's not that many people live with caribou, so they don't know that much about caribou, and that and I just want to say that it would be nice if you kind of join us for that big event in March, to come in and share and get to know about caribou and what impacts that they have or what they face. Why are they dwindling? So with that, I'll give that to Dorothy.
Ed.D.
I know they called your name already. Is that me? That's them.
She won't let me get away with anything. Okay. What concerns me more is about the caribou is that the management part of the looking after the caribou. Since land claims and everything that has happened in the Yukon government has the full say on the management part. and we give them all the knowledge and stuff that we know about how caribou should be managed, as we did years past. And we have laws and management rules about the caribou on the land to keep the environment clean for the animals so that they could multiply, and try to take different species at different times of the year, because that was our food. But Yukon government has another way of managing, and we don't think that they're managing well, because they let a lot of people in to hunt everywhere every year. And they say because we haven't settled land claims, we are what they call non-governing First Nation. Although we do have we follow our own laws, they call us that. And because the people that have already settled and got their land claims self-governed, they call them, they can come into our land and hunt as much as they want, anytime they want, because they said it's not settled land, and so it's public land to everybody. And so we have a lot of hunters in the summer for about 3 months, from August to the end of October. So there's really nobody to say, well, you can't take bull caribou when they're in rut, because you can't even eat it. And some people, the non-First Nation, they say, oh, we can spice it up if it tastes bad, but our people don't take them until after the rut. That's how bad.
Through the meat.
Yeah, they don't taste very good, because the urine of the caribou goes right through the meat and everything. So we know a lot about caribou. We know where they feed, what they eat, and all of that. So, but to the government, we're not anybody that could do that. And that concerns me, because we have to have better management of our caribou. Kula. Thank you.
And the outfitters, they kill caribou during the rut because they can't eat the meat. They bury the meat.
Just for
everything.
The
they
horns.
just take the horn. That's it. Kola?
Listen, thank you for sharing. It's, the caribou are so important. I remember listening last year to a story you were saying, Auntie Mary, that when the caribou are healthy, the people are healthy, and so it, that the concern really speaks to the interconnection between the community and the caribou, and how important it is to maintain that. And so thank you for inviting everyone to the event. For those who are interested, I will send information through Lois. It's going to be at the end of March, and it'll be by video online, so you can feel free to join. So I wanted to maybe give the advocates a chance to talk about the Court Watch, Youth for Dignity, and the language and culture, because there's quite a lot going on. And yeah, so Jody, are you able to speak a little bit about your experience with taking on the Court Watch project recently?
Yes, thank you, Amanda. For Court Watch for me was a real eye-opener for here in the Yukon. Where do I begin without sounding like... Systematic racism is basically a controlled system for the Native people across Canada. It happens in the hospitals and the courts and all the main governments and stuff like. But in Court Watches, what I've seen is there's a lot of systematic racism due to the Caucasian and the First Nation people. I would just like to discuss one case that really bothered me. Well, in areas where like First Nations, like Native people that like get in trouble with the law. Could you turn that down, Mom, please? That thing. Sorry about that. But anyways, there was a case about a Caucasian man. He had weapons of war and 2,000 bullets. He had his computer and his hard drive apprehended. He had AK-47, I think you call it, and he also had. He was learning how to build bombs and TNT and making like all these weapons, learning how to make weapons of destruction on his computer. Where in areas that like some Native men like had their gun not in the safe or anything, but the cops confiscated it. So like what they're doing is that they gave this guy 18 months for not like just 18 months of probation. So like we're in areas I could see like if he were to be a First Nations man, he would be sent to jail. And for like our First Nation men up in the Yukon here, they specifically have their rifles to only hunt for their family. And that was like the biggest eye opener I ever seen, because like it's crazy. Like, you know, our people get sent away out of our community for like, you know, rape and like, you know, killing and stuff like that. But somehow this guy gets away with all these weapons and trying to build weapons on the internet in a little community that only has like maybe 1,600 people. And I don't understand why he would have all those weapons, because even he hasn't explained why he had them. He's not Indigenous. He doesn't hunt. He doesn't have a hunting license. He didn't have no license for any of his weapons that he had. So there's a lot of systematic racism. Like if it were to be a First Nations man, he'd probably be sent to, you know, Vancouver or Whitehorse for probably many years. You know, it's just how it works up here. 80% of WCC is full of First Nations people from all over the Yukon. And it's all due to like, you know, and there's people that are, it's a lot to take in, and it's really hard to try to vocally like try to like to demonstrate it like vocally, like but what I'm trying to say is that it's racist. And yeah, so that's what I've seen on Court Watch. That was the last time. That was in December. So I think I'll be going to Court Watch in February, I believe. And I think I'm missing something. Amanda, am I missing something?
Jody, wasn't there
fantastic.
What the same day? Wasn't there an elder that same day for that court watch with that guy with the guns? Wasn't there an elder, that native elder that got his gun taken away?
Yeah, his gun got taken away. That's what I was going to get at. There was a native elder. His guns got taken away, and then he has to do jail time. But this guy that had all these massive weapons for destruction only got 18 months for probation. Like he's out and about driving around in Watson Lake, and he is like dangerous. So like where in areas like that, like I want people to like, you know, like have a neighborhood watch or something, you know, because we don't know who comes into our communities. You know, one of our girls, like last year, she almost got murdered, you know? And we don't know where these people come from. And we should be able to know where these people come from. They should introduce themselves to our community, to our people, because this is our homeland and we don't want our people to be hurt by strangers. You know, and this has to stop. And they're making money off Native people. Like, even if you go to the hospital here, automatically they make $1,500 per pop, one Native person, just to go to the clinic. Or even if you go to the hospital, to the emergency room. And like sometimes, like when they put that band on you, that's when they get paid. And then when they put that hospital band on you, from my personal experience, is that I didn't comply to their rules, which was ridiculous. And I just needed help to go there. And I just left because they were discriminating me because I'm an ex, because I struggled with a lot of things in my past and I changed, but I've experienced it personally, like the systematic racism from the hospitals, the doctors, the nurses, the judges, the lawyers, you name them all. I've been discriminated against them, all because I'm an Aboriginal woman, you know, and it's hard to watch, to see that people that are still suffering with addiction, you know, they don't notice these things because they're so far gone into their addictions that they just allow it to happen. And, you know, the sad part is that we have people dying in like the hands of RCMP, you know, and it's just like, it's a lot to like soak in, you know. And also with the justice system, with my auntie being murdered, was it 1974, Mom, or 1960? 1960, my auntie got murdered. And the judge, the man that killed her, shot her twice, said it was an accident. And they charged him for capital murder, and they let him go 2 days later afterwards that he shot my auntie. And I guess he moved away somewhere, he left. So like he just murdered my auntie and is like gone. Like, and like the justice system, like I believe long time ago, like they didn't really care. They don't care still. Like I see it and nothing has changed. Nothing. They say there's reconciliation, but there isn't. I hear it I hear it like everywhere, like the hospital, like the courts, and they talk about reconciliation, like hearing court watch and stuff like this just seems like a lie. Like I'm just trying to make everything come out clear as possible, but I just see it as a lie because this has been going on for 500 years. And yeah. So the court system here is pretty messed up. They make quite a bit of money off of Native people, that's for sure. Because without us, nothing would be running. The hospitals wouldn't be here. The jail system would be here. Schools wouldn't be here. You know? And it's just so sad that these people come into, like, you know, we invite them into our country and then they step all over us like we're nothing, you know. And just to hear our voices, and we want to speak up because, you know, there's like maybe a couple thousand other children behind me, you know. And like this has to stop because First Nation people, we're human too. You know, we're not bad people. We just want to save our land. We just want to save our water, be there for people, you know, be healthy and love one another. And that's all we want.
That's why this work is so important, Jody. Your reflections, you taking the time to share, so powerful. I appreciate it so much. And it's hard. It's hard to watch the devastation in the community and still struggle for change. And I want you to know how proud I am of you for the work that you're doing. You're an amazing young woman, and your community's lucky to have you. So,
Thank you, Amanda.
Okay.
I don't know, it just really hits home because my mom and my whole family went to residential school, like I should say prison camps. They're not schools, they're prison camps. They destroyed everything. That's all they do is just come into our land, rape our mother nature, and leave a big mess for us to clean up. And then our water is going to be dirty. What are our kids going to drink? What are they going to eat? Like, personally, I don't think we should have any mining on our land. So other people could benefit from our suffering. That's pretty sad if you ask me. Look at the big picture.
Yeah, and that's why your work is so important, and so important. You know, laws has been so instrumental in you know, protecting the land, and the Kaska women are so fierce. They're so fierce. I wouldn't want to scrap you, so I was thinking though, you know, Jody, I was thinking as you're talking about how what an important example the advocates are, and I wanted to take a minute too to talk about the work that's been done with the youth in the school, because you were talking about the next generation and who's coming up behind this generation, and so I was wondering is if Carla's still on. She has been doing quite a lot of work with the school, or the kids in the school, around healing that divide in the community. And I think it's such an inspiring example of how community can come together. So if Carla's still, are you still on there, Carla? I can't see everyone.
Hello.
Oh, can barely hear you, love.
Oh, give me a second there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit better now.
So, hi everybody again. My name is Carla, and I've been an advocate since I think the Youth for Dignity project first started, which was in 2019, and it's still currently in the ongoing, how do we call it, campaign in the schools. And what the Youth for Dignity project is about is it's focusing on our youth, our Aboriginal youth, to raise awareness to stop violence against women in our community. Because as Jody was saying, our people were raped and pillaged of our culture and our language and our rights to access and own our culture and traditions. Excuse me, I get really nervous. So yeah, so that project is still ongoing now, and we have elders from our community, our aunties, that kind of oversee that work being done in the schools, making sure that everything's done in a good way. We did some campaigns since 2019, from what I remember. There's just so much that I can't even begin to tell you how much is going on with that. But we meet on a monthly basis, I think it is. Well, we try to anyways, and we meet in the schools. We do things, activities, and we do cultural stuff, and our elders are always there teaching and kind of guiding us, I guess. Well, not kind of, they do. And so with that, I guess another important part of, besides raising the awareness to end violence against women, is we focus a lot too on like culture. So yeah, I don't know. I was asked to yesterday to get something kind of together, so I kind of did. Just it's nothing really formal or anything, but I have a really hard time talking in front of people, so I took some notes down and I wrote down some things that I wanted to share with the tea, with the aunties, and for all of you who are listening. So just bear with me, I guess. So my Indian name in Kaska is Nanchia, and it means good ground. It was a name given to me from Carmax. So I guess it would be a Southern Shoshone name because it came from Carmax. And it was given to me by my, yeah, I think so, yeah, because it was an elder lady's name in Carmax, and it was given to me by my dad's grandmother. Her name was Bessie Crow, and she was Southern Shoshone, but she had roots in Northern Shoshone. So us natives in the Yukon are very interconnected, as we used to travel all over the place and gather and stuff like that. Anyways, I just wanted to, yeah, so I guess with the Youth for Dignity stuff, it has a lot to do with who we are as Kaska people and how we try to teach our younger generations how to follow our Dene laws. So that's the really main programming that goes on in our program too. We do a lot of work with missing and murdered Indigenous campaigning. And geez, just like I said, there's a lot. But through our generations, like so much has been taken from us. And today we encounter problems such as like understanding our culture and our language. Most of all, most of our youth, we don't have a lot of youth, even people my age, I'm 39, that can speak fluently in our language, which is Kaska Dene. My grandmother was a fluent speaker. I wish I would have paid more attention to her and learning to speak our language. And she always talked about the importance of preserving our land and our animals and respecting our Mother Earth, because the land is what sustains us. I mean, it has for, I think, geez, since, I don't know, for forever, even before first contact. I know that our elders have been through a lot. They've seen a lot in their lives, from coming from our land on our trap lines, traveling, gathering, hunting, and just living completely off the land, to having the Alaska Highway come through, having to be ripped from their families and put into these residential schools, which they openly share with us the suffering that caused them. And that has a lot to do with why we have trouble with our language and our culture and stuff. I'm so like embarrassed right now for some reason. I like can't breathe.
You're doing great. Talk to me. Talk to me.
And so yeah, like I said, we have those are our, well, my biggest fear is losing our language and our culture and not having our elders around to teach us. And they tell us about the land and the importance of sustaining, like Auntie said about our caribou, and not just our caribou, but our fish and our moose, our birds. In our way, we all have that, we're all related. They're like our brothers and sisters. So yeah, so my generation anyways, I think that, we lack that knowledge of our traditional medicines and our healing practices, our ceremonies, and our culture and our language and stuff. We have a hard time to even understand our own language. we've lost, spirituality and connection to our families and communities. People were divided because of drugs, alcohol, violence, things like that. Some, kids nowadays, don't know the importance of the respect for the land. And like Isaiah was saying, we all notice the weather changing, and it is scary. Yeah. I know that our elders who remember, and they daily follow our traditions and our language, and their teachings from their grandmothers and grandfathers, they will survive through the fading of our culture and our ceremonies and our love of the land. But what about us? What about our grandchildren? So that's why it's so important for them to teach us, and they do. They try, but it's also important for everybody else to realize, like, where us as Kaska people, don't want to sell our land, and we don't want to be controlled by the queen anymore. They call it crown land, but it's not. It's our land. Yeah, that's why it's so important to me to be part of laws, is to be part of trying to reclaim our culture and our language and our land back, so that we can take care of it the way that we know how. And I hope someday to pass my knowledge on to my grandchildren, and that they can do the same for theirs, because they say it'll take 7 generations, as our aunties have said, to reclaim our land, our dignity, our culture, our language. So yeah, I believe through their stories and their language and their culture that we have continued to gather the strength to stay connected to our ancestral ways. If we stop sharing, our culture becomes lost, and our elders to teach us about Dene and to show kindness all the time to one another. And so with that, when I think about everything that Laws is doing with all the programming, I think about culture. And to me, that means bringing balance and belonging, sense of belonging of who we are as Kaska people. It's the one common bond between each and every one of us that ties us together, is in our Kaska way, is our language and the way our ceremonies and our culture, the way that we do things. That it helps me to improve my mental health, my emotional, spiritual, physical well-being, also helping other Indigenous women and anybody who needs help in our community, because that's what we do. We help one another. Our Kaska customs and traditions that we follow as a nation, like our language, our way of thinking, our spiritual beliefs, our family traditions, our unique drumming and songs, how we conduct our social interactions, our special events like naming ceremonies and potlatches, the traditional clothing that we wear, our relationship to the land, our food from the land that we harvest and eat, our love and respect for one another, our roles and place in our families, and most importantly, the cultural values that we share and pass on to our younger generations. All of these teachings brings, like I said, a sense of belonging, and it's important to know who we are and where we come from. With that, so that's what we do. We try our best to follow these ways and to teach our youth and to learn as much as we can from our elders. It gives us our identity, like I said, and Kaska people are very unique. We're different from other cultures. We never sold our land yet, thank God, and I don't think nobody wants to. And I don't think that we should be forced into selling our land either, which, like Auntie was saying earlier, that we're called a non-governing First Nation or something like that. So we don't get a lot of the, I guess you'd say, protection and stuff that we, as other people get, or other neighboring communities and stuff. yeah, I know that we're very resilient, and that's how we show our resilience, by doing the work that we do, and talking to people such as yourself and spreading the word. So hopefully, I don't know, whoever you might know, but to let them know what's going on up at this neck of the woods, that'd be greatly appreciated on our behalf for our future generations and our children and my grandchildren when I have grandchildren. So this work, it's not going to stop, even if it just doesn't stop. It's in every one of us, Kaska people. So yeah, I guess just a community that's rich in culture gains a soul of its own, because of the culture of its people. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
our culture keeps us moving forward, and yeah, we did a lot of programming. We do lots, like seriously, like I can't even like it's there, but I can't specifically say, but I know that we do. Yeah, we don't just do Youth for Dignity. We do the Court Watch, and we do lots of work with language. We do stories. Stories are really important to us. So our aunties tell us stories. And oh goodness sakes, when they talk and they talk in our language, it's so emotional, because you can feel the power of our ancestors, and you always learn something from a story. Yeah, and so I guess my job too is to learn and keep learning the meaning of respect, and trying to gain knowledge, and yeah, it's like it's through law. It's my responsibility to reclaim my culture, my language, so I can do that a lot easier through working with my advocates and with the aunties and all the guiding people that work with us in our programming. So we build that relationship, and we like to keep it strong. We meet on a monthly basis, and yeah, now we meet with you guys. So thank you for your time, and I'm sorry if I'm all scattered with my thoughts, but like I said, I'm not really used to talking about this, but it's so important to me that I'm trying my best to speak up, because we were told yesterday, an elder told us that in residential school that they weren't allowed to talk their language, and so when I feel like this, I think about that elder who said to speak up and to advocate for the truth. So here I am. Hula.
Carla, you did beautiful. Thank you. I know we're past the hour, and I don't want to rush. So if people feel the need to step out, we fully understand. We do. I think we did have one advocate that wanted to talk a little bit about how the language and culture learning has impacted, or how that's enriched her life. And we also, Anne was going to talk a bit about our kind of announcement and then our invitation. So we do have a little bit of ground to cover. So if folks are feeling like they need to step away, we get it. I did pop a video with the Youth for Dignity created in the chat for you. So hopefully you get to check that out. Julie, I can't see if you're still there. Are you around? Yeah, I see you in the thing. Do you want to say a little bit about what learning your language, how that's going for you?
Okay, for sure. So I enrolled in a Kaska level 1 course in October, and I had just pretty much wrapped it up last month, and then now we're going to go moving on to level 2. But we've been asked as advocates if we wanted to do a little crash language course. So what the goal is that we as advocates are going to continue learning our language, and then we can pass on that generation, like through our own children. And yeah, we learn from our elders. We learn from talking with each other, and yeah. I come from like, my grandmother was a really fluent speaker in her language, and then when she attended residential school, it affected her to the point like where it affected our, like my parents, like my mom and her siblings. They couldn't, like, it's language loss really, like it's First Nation genocide, and residential school was meant to wipe out the natives in us, and that's what they did, was they wiped out basically our whole language. There's probably at least 100 fluent speakers in the Yukon that can speak Kaska language, and none of them are like youth, none of them are young adults, and it just proves to show that like we are on the verge of extinction, and it's really up to this generation now to fix our language. But yeah, that's our goal. So I guess in that end, Colette.
Thank you so much. Really so inspiring to watch as you've really progressed, and she's always correcting my spelling because I'm not a language learner of that language yet. So it's wonderful to have you as a resource in the group and for bringing, you know, aspects of the language in. So much gratitude for that. And just had to step away for a second. So she's asked me to share a little bit about kind of tying this all together. This is work that's been going on in Kaska country for over 20 years. The Law's aunties and uncles have been hard at work for our generation to really benefit from their knowledge, and they've worked hard to pass on the teachings and continue the language. And so one of the things that I wanted to say is that we have a bit of an announcement. So recently, Anne, she's a mastermind at supporting the community and accessing resources that are like beyond our imaginations. And so last year we sought out the Arctic Inspiration Prize, and we were told that our program that we were wanting to launch should be funded by government, and so they turned us down. And Anne doesn't take no for an answer, so we did what anyone would do, continued to pursue it, not with AIP. So we took that application to the Google Impact Challenge for Women and Girls, and I'm excited to share that we were awarded a bucket load of money very recently, over $1 million Canadian, to create the Centre for Indigenous Women in Leadership. And what that centre looks like is Kaska language, it is land-based learning, it is the advocates in action, it's the advocates teaching other people how to do this work in community. It is about response-based practice. It is about really, you know, learning for Kaska people, learning Dene Otnitsin, and then learning how to teach that to the rest of the community. And so part of that will look like training for service providers in the community. Part of that will look like ongoing development and cultural and linguistic development for the advocates. So it's pretty amazing, and we're pretty excited about that. So stay tuned, because there may be other opportunities for us to connect as we develop that programming and as we develop, you know, not the foundations, but continue to do the good work that we're doing in a way that allows us to connect out with more communities. So that is kind of the announcement. So we'll maybe have another visit when we get up and running a little bit more. It's a pretty new situation, so we're just working to figure it out, and it's quite lovely. So if anybody has anything to add before we move to the letter, I would turn on your microphone real quick. Okay. Oh, you can interrupt me if you need to. One of the things that the advocates do as well, and I just really want to like say thank you and hold my hands up to you for the work that you do. A lot of the work that, not a lot, some of the work that the advocates do is around advocacy, like political advocacy and letter writing and writing to change the future in the community. And so recently, we've gotten together, and with Lois Moorcroft as kind of the pen on it, we picked up a little tidbit in a recently published work called Royally Wronged, the Royal Society of Canada and Indigenous Peoples. The book is a reflection, it's a response to Cindy Blackstock's invitation to the Royal Society of Canada, which is composed of primarily academics and other kind of distinguished settler folk usually. It was an invitation by Cindy to examine their role in the Indian residential school system and how the Royal Society's research and literature and other works contributed to the different kinds of legislation that were genocidal to Indigenous people. One of the things that was really interesting was that there was a man, one of the presidents, his name was Duncan Campbell Scott, and he was president for a while of the Royal Society, but he was also the Deputy Superintendent General for Indian Affairs for about 20 years, I think. And he had a significant, he was probably the most instrumental person in Canada in enforcing the Indian residential school system. And some of the legislation and policy that he put in place included the forced removal of Indian children and closing of day schools in favor of the residential schools. And he had a very low opinion of Indigenous peoples and did a lot of damage, including making it difficult for us to bring making it impossible for us to raise money for legal assistance or to bring anything before the courts for a good chunk of time. So he was pretty instrumental in our genocide. And we were taking a look at, Lois and I were reading something, and I picked up that in this work that by the Royal Society, that in 1922, the University of Toronto, that you're all familiar with, actually conferred upon Duncan Campbell Scott an honorary Doctor of Letters. And so we are actually, we've written a letter as the advocates inviting the University of Toronto to rescind that designation. It is a prestigious designation that was partly earned for his role in the genocide of Indigenous people in Canada and partly for his literary work, which also contributed to our genocide. And so we, if you want to just flip the slide forward, Lois, this is an opportunity for reconciliation and action. The University of Toronto has signed on to a plan to address the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls for action, and we think that it's very timely 100 years later to ask them to reconsider the conference of this degree. So we have written a letter, and I'm going to pop in the chat a link to the letter, and we invite you to be signatories with us. I will close the signatures before the end of the month and issue the letter on January 31st. So if you need time to think about it and time to read the letter, please do so. We are welcoming you to be part of the advocacy work that these young people do in the community, and that we're so proud of the work that they're doing. So that is kind of our call to advocacy to you today. And I guess I am curious if anybody in the group has anything to add, or if there's kind of any questions or comments or anything that I might have missed, because I am good at that sometimes, like, check-ins this morning. Did I miss anything, advocates? Did I miss anything?
You did good.
Thanks, Jody.
Awesome.
I'm sweating too here.
Nervously, eh? Nervously.
Yeah. Blood pumping, activism.
Yeah.
Yes, you can absolutely share the link, Amy. Please do. Please do share the link.
I'm surprised that I just seen someone in the chat said that they didn't know that we existed or something like that.
Yeah, he was a situation, we'll say, a colonial situation. But
Yeah, like what did he say? So thank you so much for this. I am ashamed to admit that before your talk, I knew nothing about the Kaska people. We grew up learning about all the French and British kings and queens, but we learned nothing of substance about the real history of Canada and the many nations and peoples and languages here. Thank you for raising awareness and helping us to re-educate us.
what a beautiful comment. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, eh?
Yeah. It's also
He
lovely
said, no,
to
thank you.
also lovely to have people that want to be in connection and listen and that are interested in supporting the work that we're doing.
Yeah, I see that. There's like, do you guys want, do you want people to come and visit and support? Yeah, that's cool. Hey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Give
how it
them moose
starts.
meat. Moose meat.
Bribe them with dry meat.
Yeah.
We do that to ourselves enough. We do that to ourselves enough.
We got bears. We got bears.
Just rich, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
How wonderful. How wonderful. Thank you so much. Right.
Nervous.
You're excited. Should be. This work is important. I just wanted to ask Lois to slide to the next one. It looks like people are needing to exit. I did want to see or say Gilson for being here and for sharing with us and learning with us. And we're grateful you were here. We'll be grateful if you sign the petition, watch the Vimeo that the youth made with love. And we hope that we get to come back again and talk more about some of the work that's ongoing in the community. There's so much happening that we didn't even get a chance to touch on today. And so, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for this space. Thank you, Lois, for organizing and keeping on top of me all the time. And the more people that sign the petition, the less likely I am to get kicked out of U of T. So that'd be great. But yeah, I hope you feel complete in our sharing and that you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And thank you so much to the advocates for presenting and building your skills, sending love to each and every one of you wherever you are. And until we meet again. You good, Carla? Kola?
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Tagas a lot and
Thank you. Guys,
Stay blessed, everybody.
Thank you so much. And his advocates. It's been a pleasure.